Hey, pull up a seat right here next to me in this dimly lit room. Lights turned way down low, just the faint blue glow from my screen bouncing off the walls that are literally covered wall to wall with yellow tabloid clippings from the 90s, stacks of leaked court papers that still smell like old ink, printed out screenshots of deleted tweets and frantic DMs from people inside the machine who are still whispering, "Please Strange, do not use my name or I am done in this town." It's your boy Strange, the one guy who knows every single filthy secret the stars are trying to bury forever. And welcome back to Dirty Hollywood, where we do not do the polished red carpet bullshit. We rip the curtain down, we shine the light on the cockroaches, and tonight we are going full deep dive, forensic investigation style into the Winter Olympics 2026 in Milan, Cortina. The one where Hollywood's biggest clout chasers jetted in like it was their own personal image rehab tour, while the athletes on the ice and snow were out there living the rawest, most destructive truths you have ever seen. Public cheating confessions that made entire countries stop breathing. This wild thing the tabloids instantly called Penisgate that had the whole world choking on their morning coffee. Canadian curlers turning the so-called gentleman's sport into a straight-up bar fight full of F-bombs and accusations that shattered every polite stereotype Canada ever had. And all of it wrapped up in the crisp smell of fresh powder snow, sponsor cash flowing like wine, and the thick, heavy stench of betrayal hanging in the air like cheap cologne at an after party. And the whole damn time, Snoop Dogg and the Clooneys are out there smiling for the cameras, posing in their designer gear, raking in the sponsorship money hand over fist, acting like they are there for the pure love of sport and the athletes and the Olympic spirit. Come on now, we all know that it's straight up bullshit. Let us be real for a second here. This is the story of how the entertainment machine takes human pain and destruction and turns it into pure ratings gold and viral moments, and how the athletes paid with their reputations, their relationships, their mental health, while the big names walked away with their images shinier than any gold medal and their bank accounts fatter than ever. By the time we are done with this, you are never ever going to look at those highlight reels the same way again without seeing the dirt underneath. And it all kicks off with one single moment that literally froze the entire planet in its tracks, like someone hit pause on the whole games. Picture this, exactly. It is February 10th, 2026. The biathlon venue way up in the Italian Alps. Air so cold it feels like it is slicing right through your lungs every time you breathe. Snow crunching under every boot step like breaking glass. The sharp crack of rifles echoing off the mountain walls like gunshots in a thriller movie. Sturla Holm Legreit, this 28-year-old Norwegian guy who looks like the poster boy for clean-cut athlete, crosses the finish line in third place, grabbing bronze in the men's 20-kilometer individual. His face is beet red from the effort, breath coming out in these huge white clouds that hang in the freezing air. His whole body shaking from the combination of exhaustion and adrenaline. The crowd is roaring their heads off, but then the Norwegian broadcaster NRK shoves the microphone right in his face for the live post-race interview. And this dude does not go for any of the usual scripted "thank you to my coach, my family, my sponsors" crap. No, his voice cracks right there on live television. Tears start welling up in his eyes. The camera zooms in tight on the sweat that is literally freezing on his cheeks, turning into little ice crystals, and he looks straight into the lens with this broken expression and says, and I am quoting him word for word here, "There is someone I wanted to share this with who might not be watching today. 6 months ago, I met the love of my life, the world's most beautiful and kindest person. 3 months ago, I made the biggest mistake of my life and was unfaithful to her. I told her about that a week ago. This has been the worst week of my life." The interviewer just freezes like a deer in headlights. The studio back in Norway cuts to the anchors who are sitting there with their jaws literally on the floor. Back home in Norway, millions of people are watching this live, their morning coffee going cold, their phones blowing up, and his ex-girlfriend, the woman he just called the love of his life in front of the entire world, is sitting there completely blindsided as her private heartbreak becomes national and then global news in real time. Here is where shit gets truly fucked up. And I mean truly. This was not some accidental slip-up after too many drinks at the village bar. According to people who were literally in the room with them and insiders who are still scared to talk on record, Legrade had confessed the whole affair to her privately exactly 1 week before the games even started. She dumped him on the spot, no hesitation. So what does this guy do? He decides the absolute best way to handle it is to air all the dirty laundry on live national television right after winning an Olympic medal, hoping that the public sympathy or this grand dramatic gesture would somehow win her back or at least spin the whole thing as the repentant hero story for his sponsors and his fans and his country. Word on the street from people close to the Norwegian team is he thought it would make him look vulnerable. And real and relatable, the kind of story that gets you book deals and extension on those big endorsement contracts with the ski brands and the energy drinks. But the ex, she fired back the very next day in an interview with the Norwegian tabloid VG, and her quote is ice cold. Let me read it to you. It is hard to forgive even after a declaration of love in front of the whole world. I did not choose to be put in this position, and it hurts to have to be in it. We have had contact and he is aware of my opinions on this. She stayed anonymous to protect whatever privacy she had left, but the damage was done, and it was nuclear. The internet exploded with memes overnight. Norway's media went into full overdrive mode, with special segments and panel discussions, and Legrade went on to win even more medals in the days that followed, silver in the pursuit, bronze in the sprint. But the affair confession dominated every single headline, every single day. People who knew him from his early days growing up in Bærum say he always had that nice guy facade, the guitar playing, the meditation. The 6-time world champion, who had already won relay gold back in Beijing 2022. The family, full of sports background that made him a national darling from the jump. But the insane pressure of the Olympic spotlight, the isolation in the athlete village, the temptation of being surrounded by other young attractive athletes from all over the world, it all cracked him wide open like an egg. And while this emotional bomb was blowing up live on television, just a short drive away in the glittering lights of Milan, the Hollywood contingent was living in a completely different universe. Toasting with glasses of champagne and posing for red carpet photos like the real human filth happening out on the slopes had absolutely nothing to do with the glamorous show they were there to profit from. And that right there brings us straight into the first of the big-name cloud chasers who turned these games into their own personal image rehab and money-making tour. Snoop Dogg, the D-O-double-G himself, the man who somehow reinvented himself from gangsta rap icon to the self-proclaimed Olympic mayor of the whole damn thing. But to really understand how the hell this even happened, we have to go all the way back to the very beginning. The broke as hell childhood, the gang life, the murder charge that the nice polished PR version wants you to forget like it never existed. Calvin Cardozo Brodus Jr., born October 20th, 1971 in Long Beach, California. His dad Vernell walked out when little Calvin was only 3 years old, leaving his mom Beverly to hustle multiple jobs just to keep the lights on. And raised him and his brothers in the middle of the projects, where the Crips ran everything and violence was just part of the daily soundtrack. By the time he was a teenager, Snoop was deep in it, selling crack on the corners, carrying guns, dodging bullets from rival gangs, the whole 9 yards. Then, in 1992, he links up with Dr. Dre at a random house party, lays down the vocals for Deep Cover, and boom, the career explodes overnight. 1993, Doggy Style drops debuts at #1 on the charts, sells over 800,000 copies in the first week alone. Hits like Gin and Juice and Who Am I turn him into the laid-back pimp king of gangsta rap, the voice of the streets. But the dark side never ever left him. That same year, he gets charged with first-degree murder in a drive-by shooting of this guy, Philip Voldemariam, a rival gang member. The trial is a complete circus. Snoop showing up in court every day looking sharp as hell in his suits, but in 1996 the jury acquits him. Self-defense. The gang life reality was just too raw for them to ignore. During that whole trial, his music is still blowing up. Death Row Records drama with Suge Knight, the Tupac and Biggie beefs, the wild parties, the women flowing in and out. He has a son with one woman, while he is still with his high school sweetheart Shantae Taylor. They get married in 1997, divorce in 2004, amid all kinds of infidelity whispers. Then reconcile in 2008, renew their vows, have 3 kids total, and now grandkids running around. Snoop's rap shit is longer than most people realize, with possession arrests, a 2006 gun charge on an airplane. But the man pivots like a damn masterclass in reinvention. Acting roles start coming in, Training Day, Bones, The Wash, then the Martha Stewart cooking show in 2012, where they are literally baking wheat brownies on live television. Like it is the most normal thing. He launches his own football league. His cannabis brands go vegan for a minute. Even does the Snoop Lion reggae pivot in 2012 after a spiritual trip to Jamaica. By 2020 he is the fun uncle of America. 2 sports Emmys for that, Paris 2024 highlights show with Kevin Hart that went mega viral across the planet. NBC sees the ratings goldmine, and for Milan Cortina, they make him honorary coach for Team USA. Special correspondent, ambassador of joy, the whole package. Insiders who have seen the contract say the pay was around $500,000 a day for the 17 days of the games. That is over $8.5 million, plus all the expenses, private jets, security, the works. Let us be real for a second here. That is not some charity gig for the love of sport. That is called calculated clout chasing, keeping his brand red hot ahead of LA 2028 in his own backyard. Turning the Olympics into free content for his supermarket merch line and his social media empire that prints money. Now, let us reconstruct his first days in Milan like we are watching the movie play out frame by frame. The private jet touches down at the airport. Snoop steps out in this custom all-white Coach Snoop coat, with Team USA patches and Milan Cortina embroidery stitched on it, fur-lined against the biting cold. The cameras flashing non-stop as he high-fives volunteers and athletes left and right. He rolls straight into the athlete village, taking selfies, handing out pins, cracking jokes, saying, quote, "Everybody who has something to do with this is important. I make it a must to try to touch faces and try to put my heart in the hands of others who actually mean the world to this thing right here." He learns curling from the USA skips Danny Casper and Tabitha Peterson, laughing his ass off about the brooms on the ice. Rides the Zamboni ice resurfacer in that same fur coat, waving to the crowd like he is the mayor of the entire slopes. On February 3rd, at the Milan ice skating arena, the video goes viral instantly. Tries the bobsled with the Jamaican team, sits in it, but flat out refuses to actually slide down, saying, quote, "I am not getting in that bobsled, homie. I will sit in the bobsled, but I am not sliding nowhere in it. There is no cushion, no protection, no nothing. Skis with Picabo Street, snowboards with the kids." Calls the second period of the USA vs Sweden hockey game, joins the broadcast booth for the women's figure skating with Martha Stewart and Ilya Malinin, then dances to Drop It Like It's Hot right after, like it is a concert. Has this fancy dinner at the La Scala Opera House with Martha, the smell of fresh Italian pasta and expensive wine in the air. Laughter echoing of the marble walls. But people who were in the room swear the conversations turned way more private. After the cameras left, weed smoke thickens the air, the old Snoop energy coming out full force. His security team had this heated clash with the Dutch short-track skater Marianne Timmer. She claimed she felt grabbed or threatened. His credit card even declined at this family-owned gastropub Kronax in Livigno. He ordered cheeseburger, chicken wings, nuggets, fries, laughed it off, and the very next day his team sent 5 tickets to the snowboarding finals. As a thank you, the owners posted "Grazie Snoop" all over social media. Every single one of these viral moments racked up over 100 million impressions and 73 million video views on NBC Social by the end of the games. He launched his Snoopermarket line with custom Team USA gear, wore matching outfits to different events. Chloe Kim themed jacket at the half pipe. But here is the biting sarcasm for you. This is the same dude who once faced murder charges, ran with death row, when they had all the women and the vid arrests, and now he is the wholesome fun face of the Olympics? The ultimate image laundering operation. And NBC and the IOC are making bank of the contrast between the old street Snoop and the new Olympic Snoop. While he is out there making everyone smile and forget the real dirt, the power couple Clooneys are doing their own version of the high-end glam PR play across town, but we will get to them in a minute, because first we have to dig even deeper into how Snoop's whole life story is the perfect example of how the machine turns street cred into sponsor money, and how his 2026 Olympic run is just the latest chapter in a career built on reinvention and survival. Let us go back even further into Snoop's childhood, because the details matter if you want to understand the motives here. Long Beach in the 70s and 80s was no joke. Kelvin grows up in the East Side with his mom working 3 jobs, his dad gone, his brothers looking up to him. By age 12, he is already in the creeps, rolling with the wrong crowd. But music is his escape. He is freestyling on corners, practicing flows in the mirror. His mom Beverly, she is the rock. She talks about in interviews how she prayed every night he would make it out. Then the big break with Dre changes everything, but the past follows him. The murder trial in 93, 96. He is wearing suits in court, but the media is calling him a gangster rapper on trial for his life. He drops the Dogfather right after the acquittal. Keeps the hits coming. The death row fallout with Shook is legendary. Snoop leaves for No Limit, then his own label, Doggy Style Records. He gets into acting because Shook wanted him to, but it sticks. He kills it in Training Day as the blue rag wearing gang member opposite Denzel. Bones, the TV show, runs for years. He plays the kingpin with the heart of gold. The Martha Stewart friendship starts as a joke, but turns into this weird, wholesome crossover. They do the cooking show. Snoop says in old interviews, Martha is gangsta for real. His cannabis brand, Mary Jane, becomes a multi-million-dollar empire. Legal weed is his retirement plan, he says. The vegan phase, the gospel album, the kids' books he writes for his grandkids. Every pivot is calculated to stay relevant. By the time Paris 2024 rolls around, NBC calls him up. He kills it with the roving correspondent gig, the viral moments with athletes, the fun energy. So for 2026, they double down, make him honorary coach. The pay is insane, the exposure even bigger. Insiders say he was texting his team during the games. Keep the parties low-key, but the after-hours vibes were happening. Security had to shut some things down. One leaked story from a volunteer who does not want to be named says Snoop was in the village handing out his own brand of snacks, and the athletes were loving it, but some of the stricter coaches were side-eyeing the whole thing. The security clash with Marianne Timmer happened around February 13th. She was a 5-time Olympic medalist, legend in short track, and she said one of Snoop's guys shoved her into a wall during a crowded area. The Dutch media picked it up, but it got buried fast because who wants to ruin the fun Snoop narrative? Snoop never commented directly, but his team said it was a misunderstanding in the chaos. This is the guy raking in the clout while athletes like Legrade are having their personal lives destroyed on camera. And the Norwegian scandal kept snowballing in ways that made the PR machine for the celebs scramble like never before. Legrade grew up in a sports family in Bærum, just outside Oslo. His dad was into skiing, his mom supported the biathlon dream. He started young, won junior titles, then exploded on the senior scene. 6 world titles. Before the Olympics, relay gold in Beijing. The whole package. He was the golden boy of Norwegian winter sports. quite humble, the meditation guy who played guitar to relax. The girlfriend, they had been together 6 months. She was the one, according to his friends, the kind of relationship that felt like forever. The affair happened 3 months, in classic village temptation, during training camps, other athletes, the adrenaline, the isolation away from home. He confessed a week before the games. She ended it immediately. He shows up in Milan anyway, competes, and then that bronze medal moment, the emotion hits, and he blurts it all out. After the interview, he told Norwegian media, "I was not thinking clearly, I was emotional. I hope the public declaration would show her how sorry I am." But the ex response in VG made it clear she was not buying the redemption arc. It hurts to have your pain broadcast like that. Norwegian tabloids ran polls. Did he do the right thing? 70% said no, it was narcissistic. Memes flooded Twitter and TikTok, one with his crying face over sad music, another comparing it to reality TV confessions. Sponsors stayed quiet, but insiders say there were emergency calls to see if the vulnerability angle could be spun positive for the brand. He still won more medals, 3 silvers, 2 bronzes, total 5 for the games. But the headlines were always Legrade, the cheater who won medals. The psychological pressure on Olympic athletes is insane. The years of training, the isolation, the tiny margins between gold and nothing. And then add the personal drama and it explodes in public. This is the dirty truth the celebs never have to deal with because their scandals are managed by teams of publicists and lawyers. While all this was exploding, Snoop was continuing his victory lap around the venues. He carried the Olympic torch through Milan before the opening ceremony, the crowd going wild, him in sunglasses, strutting like it is his concert. He tried skiing in Cortina, the videos show him laughing, falling but getting back up. The Ambassador of Joy title, fitting perfect. At the speed skating, he is in the stands with Eric Hayden, the legend, gesturing and cheering. The custom outfits were everywhere. The houndstooth coat, the furry hat, the snowflake medal around his neck, the Ralph Lauren puffer in red, white, blue. He even did segments with Mike Tirico unpacking the viral moments. The chemistry was electric. His supermarket popped up with gear flying off shelves. But the credit card decline in Livigno became this wholesome story the restaurant owners loved. The tickets to the half-pipe final where Yuta Tatsuka won gold. Snoop posted about it indirectly, keeping the good vibes. The security incident with Timur was the one dark spot. She is a Dutch legend, felt threatened. The video, if it exists, never leaked. But the story spread in European papers. Snoop's team downplayed it, said crowded area, mistake, but it showed the old street protection energy still there, under the fun uncle image. This is how the machine works. The contrast sells, the redemption arc sells, and the money flows. Now the energy is building, and we cannot ignore how this all connects to the bigger picture of Clout versus real pain. The Norwegian confession was the emotional gut punch, but it was only the opening act. The Canadian curling drama was about to turn the ice into a battlefield. And Penisgate was lurking in the early days like the most absurd scandal ever. But before we go there, let us slide into the Clooneys, because they landed in Milan just days before the opening ceremony for what looked like a romantic getaway, but was really a high-end sponsorship activation at the Omega House opening gala on February 8th. The venue, right in the heart of Milan, inside chef Carlo Cracca's restaurant in the Galleria Vittorio Emanuele II, chandeliers sparkling the air, thick with expensive perfume, and quiet networking, the elite of the watch world and a handful of A-listers, mingling like it is the hottest ticket in town. Amal steps out in this long, ruched black gown, sweetheart neckline, figure-hugging silhouette, strapless, ruffled bodice, with central seam V-shaped, ruched detailing, sheer floral-like sweeps, a slit at the calves creating a mini train, pointed black heels, sculptural, golden diamond drop earrings, gold bangle, black clutch, hair in voluminous waves, long lashes, bronzed eyeshadow, looking every bit the power lawyer turned fashion icon. George in a sleek dark navy suit, crisp white shirt, unbuttoned at the chest, no tie, black belt, shiny loafers, rocking the new Omega Speedmaster Reverse Panda watch. He has been ambassador for since 2007. They pose for the cameras looking like the ultimate fairy tale couple, paparazzi going crazy, social media calling them couple goals again. George later releases a statement: "I have spent many hours in northern Italy over the years, so it is quite special to have the Olympic Winter Games taking place in this beautiful part of the world, especially with Omega here as the official timekeeper." But to understand the real motives, we need the full bias and the Hollywood dirt that does not make the glossy magazines. George Timothy Clooney, born May 6, 1961, in Lexington, Kentucky, to TV anchorman dad Nick and beauty queen mom Nina. He drops out of college, moves to LA, struggles for years, bartending, small roles that go nowhere. Then Air in 1994 makes him a superstar as Dr. Doug Ross, the charming doctor every woman wanted. Movies follow From Dusk Till Dawn, Out of Sight, the Ocean's 11 franchise that prints money. Syriana wins him the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. He is the famous bachelor, for decades married Talia Balsam from 1989 to 93, then a string of high-profile relationships with models and actresses. The running joke in Hollywood about the George Clooney curse: any woman he dates ends up married to someone else soon after. He becomes this activist on Darfur, Sudan, gun control, politics, always supporting Democrats. Then, in 2013, he meets Amal Alamuddin at a dinner in London. She is the human rights lawyer born in Beirut, 1978. Family fled the civil war to the UK when she was 2. Oxford degree, NYU, top of her field, representing Julian Assange, war crimes victims, refugees. They marry in 2014 in Venice, this lavish ceremony the world watches. Twins Alexander and Ella, born in 2017. The Clooneys buy the Lake Como villa, get French citizenship. Recently, the perfect global power couple image, polished to perfection. But the Hollywood dirt is always there if you dig. George's Playboy past with all the rumored affairs, the industry sexism he navigated, Amal's high-profile cases that put her in the spotlight, but also the pressure of being the perfect wife in the tabloids. The Onega ambassadorship is worth millions over the years. The gala is pure networking with IOC bigwigs, sponsors, potential for new film projects using the Olympic prestige. They arrived in leopard-print boots for Amal on the airport run, sporty but spicy, then switched to full glam for the event. While they were toasting with the elite, the athlete village was a pressure cooker of temptation, and the scandals were just starting to erupt in ways that made the PR teams work overtime. The Norwegian thing was the spark, but the real filth was building, and the celebs stayed above it all, smiling for the cameras. Legret's ex stayed mostly anonymous, but the pain in her statement was raw, the way the public confession took away her choice to handle it privately. Insiders in the Norwegian camp say the couple had been together 6 months. She was the one and the affair happened during a training camp. The classic combination of adrenaline, isolation and opportunity. He regretted the public way he did it later, said he was not thinking clearly in the medal moment, emotion took over. But he kept competing and winning. The story followed him like a shadow. Norway's media called it the biggest overshare in Olympic history. The memes were relentless. Some calling him brave for owning it, others a narcissist using the platform for personal redemption. The implications hit hard. Sponsors might have loved the vulnerability for a minute, but the ex's response showed the damage was permanent. The whole thing highlighted how the pressure to be perfect in sports can make even the nicest guys crack in the most public destructive ways. Meanwhile, the celebrity contingent said nothing, continuing their appearances as if the human cost had zero connection to the spectacle they were cashing in on. This is the dirty truth behind the appearances, the clout chasers versus the real scandals. And we are only scratching the surface, because the Canadian curlers and Penisgate are about to blow this whole thing wide open. And the way the Hollywood names profited off the distraction is going to make your head spin when we get there. And the way the Hollywood names profited off the distraction is going to make your head spin when we get there. But let me tell you, it sure as hell did for me, and it is about to do the exact same thing to you. Because the second the games kicked into high gear, the scandals started dropping like bombs, one after another. The kind that make you lean in closer to the screen and say, wait for it, You are not gonna believe what these athletes were doing while the cameras were rolling and the celebs were posing. We're talking Penisgate, the most absurd, straight up, laugh or cry, performance enhancement mess the Olympics have ever seen. The one that had grown men in suits talking about penis injections on live television and the physics of crotch fabric giving extra lift in the air. And it all started leaking out on February 5th, 2026, the day before the opening ceremony. Fireworks even lit up the Milan sky. It all started leaking out on February 5th, 2026, the day before the opening ceremony. Fireworks even lit up the Milan sky. Picture the scene exactly the way it went down. The ski jumping venue in Predazzo, the ramps covered in fresh Italian snow, the air so crisp it bites your lungs, the athletes in the training facilities, the locker rooms buzzing with that nervous pre-games energy, the coaches pacing the floors, the suits being zipped up and measured with those high-tech 3D body scanners the federation uses to make sure everything is skin-tight, no extra baggy fabric allowed to cheat the aerodynamics. The suits being zipped up and measured with those high-tech 3D body scanners the federation uses to make sure everything is skin-tight. No extra baggy fabric allowed to cheat the aerodynamics. Then Bild, the German tabloid that loves the big scoops, drops the story with the headline that stops the entire sports world in its tracks. Ski jumpers are injecting their penises. The report said some competitors were getting hyaluronic acid fillers shot straight into the genital area to pump up the crotch measurement, so when the scanners did their thing, the bigger number would let the suit makers cut a little looser right there, giving just a bit more surface area for better airflow and glide during the flight phase. Giving just a bit more surface area for better airflow and glide during the flight phase. In ski jumping, where the difference between a gold medal and packing your bags early is often less than 2 centimeters or a couple of points, that kind of marginal gain is everything, the holy grail, the thing coaches dream about at night. The physics guys jumped in fast. The articles in Scientific American and everywhere else broke it down. 2 centimeters of extra fabric in the right spot could translate to 5.8 meters more distance in the jump. That is the difference between the podium and watching from the stands. That is the difference between the podium and watching from the stands. The reaction was nuclear. The memes hit TikTok and Twitter like a tidal wave. Cartoons of jumpers with oversized equipment soaring through the sky, the jokes writing themselves, the late-night hosts having a field day, the whole internet losing its mind. Then the confirmation came, and it got even better or worse, depending on how you look at it. The famous Italian plastic surgeon Alessandro Littara stepped up in interviews and said straight out, "Yes, I treated a ski jumper last month with a generous dose of hyaluronic acid. The guy came in saying it was for personal reasons, to avoid embarrassment in the changing room. But everyone with half a brain knew the Olympics were the real reason." The procedure is quick, 30 minutes local anesthesia, but the risks are nasty. Infections, swelling, the filler can migrate or cause lumps, long-term damage to function and sensation. But when you are chasing Olympic gold at 24 years old, the future feels far away. The medal is right there in front of you. Reconstruct the locker room moments. For me, the tension you could cut with a knife. The jumpers from Austria, Germany, Poland, Norway, standing there in their underwear. The coaches watching like hawks, the measurements being taken again and again. The whispers starting. Who did it, who did not. The side eyes, the quiet laughs that turned serious when the story broke, the way the whole village turned into one big rumor mill, the athletes dodging reporters, the volunteers texting their friends back home. Can you believe this shit? Insiders who were there and are still scared to talk on record say it was not just one guy. Whole teams were rumored to be in on it. The federations turning a blind eye as long as the medals rolled in. The pressure from sponsors, the national pride, the family back home counting on the payout, the years of broke training in small hills, the dad working 2 jobs, the mom driving through blizzards, the injuries ignored, the mental breakdowns pushed aside. all for that one shot at immortality. The World Anti-Doping Agency got dragged in immediately, officials commenting on penile enhancement for the first time in history. The Polish president vetoed Banka, saying with this half smile on his face, "Ski jumping is very popular in Poland. So I promise you, I am going to look at it." The clip went viral. The WADA Director General Olivier Nigli saying he was not aware of the details, but they would investigate if evidence emerged. No names came out. The athletes stayed silent. The federation tightened the rules on suit measurements even more, but the damage was done. The trust was cracked. The fans were questioning every jump, every medal. The memes kept coming. The late-night monologues kept rolling. And here is where the Hollywood crossover makes the whole thing truly disgusting. The body optimization game in sports is the exact same playbook as in Los Angeles. The athletes pumping fillers for performance, the stars pumping them for the red carpet, the same clinics, the same doctors. The same shady suppliers, the network of agents who see scandal as opportunity. The jumpers with the penis-gate notoriety, getting DMs from reality TV producers, the offers for tell-all interviews. The podcast deals the book advances, the way the dirt turns into dollars. The athletes pay with their health and their reputation. The machine prints the money. Snoop Dogg could not help himself during one of his broadcast segments. He leaned into the mic with that signature grin and cracked a joke about the jumpers trying to get more air in every way possible. The crowd in the studio losing it. The clip racking up millions of views. The Clooneys, on the other hand, at the Omega House Gala and the fancy dinners, they stayed way above the fray. Not a single word about the athlete village drama. The focus on the glamour, the watches, the networking, the power couple image, shining like the chandeliers above them. The way their appearance was pure brand building, while the real filth was happening on the slopes. But Penisgate was just the opening act, the warm-up, the thing that had everyone giggling nervously because the real drama that turned the gentleman's sport into a bar fight was about to explode. On the curling ice, and it involved the Canadian teams. The ones who took politeness and self-policing and threw it right out the window in front of the entire world. It started in the round-robin phase, the men's match, Canada versus Sweden. The arena in Milan, the ice perfect. The stones sliding smooth, the crowd quiet and respectful. The way curling always is. But then, Sweden's Oscar Eriksson accuses Canada's Mark Kennedy of double-touching the stone after releasing it. The ultimate no-no in a sport where the players call their own fouls. Kennedy loses it. His face going red, his voice booming across the sheet. Quote, "I have not done it once, you can fuck off." The exchange caught on every camera, the umpires rushing in. The stones pulled in later ends the whole thing going viral in minutes. The polite Canadian stereotype shattered like glass. Reconstruct the exact moment, the tension building in the penultimate end. Eriksson pointing at the stone, Kennedy standing there, the crowd gasping. The Swedish team calm, but insistent, the Canadian side defensive. The argument escalating. Kennedy saying, "I do not give a shit." Twice the F-bomb dropping live on television. Village drama. The focus on the glamour, the watches, the networking, the power couple image, shining like the chandeliers above them. The Canadian Olympic Committee CEO downplayed it later, saying it was no big deal, like a foot fault in tennis or traveling in basketball. But the sport was rocked, the self-policing code broken. The national pride turning into embarrassment, the memes pouring in, the videos looped everywhere. And it did not stop there. The Canadian women's team with superstar skip Rachel Homan got accused the very next day in their game against Switzerland, her first rock pulled for the same violation. The team denying it the scrutiny, ramping up with extra cameras, extra umpires, the whole tournament feeling like a trial. To understand the motives, the backstabbing, the way this blew up, we have to dig the full bios, the childhoods, the pressure, the personalities that made it explode. Mark Kennedy from St. Albert, Alberta. The dad, a coach, the family deep in the sport. The long career, multiple Olympic goals. The family man, the guy who always played by the rules. Until that moment, the pressure of the games, the years of training, the tiny margins, the temptation to push the edge just a little. Rachel Homan from Ottawa, the dominant skip, the one they call superwoman, the comeback after pregnancy, the mother of two, the athlete who returned stronger but now labeled cheater in some circles, the way the accusations hit her team, the denial, the extra attention, the way it followed them even as they pushed for the podium. The Swedish team, led by Niklas Edin, the veterans who had been complaining about the double touch for years, the ones who said it had been going on since 2018, the appeals to the federation, the frustration boiling over in that match, the way Eriksson stayed calm while Kennedy exploded, the contrast that made the story so juicy. The Canadian men still won gold, the celebration with Brad Jacobs saying he hugged the image of them with the medals is burned into your brain forever, the quotes that went everywhere, the defiance, the pride, the way the drama actually boosted the sport's popularity, the ratings, the interest, the streaming numbers. But the reputation took a hit. The spirit of curling questioned, the sponsors nervous, the IOC watching close. Insiders who were in the arenas swear the backstabbing within teams, the leaked videos, the private arguments, the way the self-policing broke down, the national federation scrambling, the emergency meetings, the way the Canadians felt targeted, the Swedes felt ignored. The whole thing, a perfect storm of pressure, fame, isolation and ego, the kind that turns good people into the villains of their own story on live television. While all this was exploding on the ice, Snoop was out there continuing his victory lap. The custom all-white coach coat with the Team USA and Milan Cortina patches, the fur lined against the cold, the selfies with athletes, the jokes, the Zamboni rides, the bobsled seats, the curling lessons, the dancing after figure skating, the fancy dinner at La Scala with Martha Stewart, the smell of pasta and wine, the laughter, the private after hours where the old energy came out, the wheat, the stories, the security clash with the Dutch short track legend Marianne Timmer, the one where she claims she felt grabbed or threatened, the details hushed but the tension real, the credit card decline in Livigno, the cheeseburger, wings, nuggets, fries, the laugh it off, the 5 tickets to snowboarding as thanks, the owners posting "Grazie Snoop", the wholesome story that covered the cracks. His supermarket gear flying off shelves, the matching outfits, the Chloe King theme at the halfpipe, the viral moments racking up 100 million impressions, the paycheck, over $8.5 million, the Clout for LA 2028, the image laundering, the way he turned the Olympics into his personal content machine, while the athletes were living the scandals. The Clooneys landed just days before for the Omega House opening gala on February 8th, the venue in the heart of Milan, the chandeliers, the cologne, the quiet deal, making the elite mingling, Amal in the long rouge black gown, the sweetheart neckline, the figure hugging, the strapless ruffled bodies, the central seam, the V-shaped detailing, the sheer floral sweeps, the slit at the calves, the mini train, the pointed heels, the sculptural gold and diamond earrings, the gold bangle, the black clutch, the voluminous waves, the long lashes, the bronze shadow, George in the dark navy suit, the white shirt unbuttoned, the no tie, the shiny loafers, the Omega Speedmaster reverse panda, the pose, the paparazzi, the social media couple goals, the statement from George. I have spent many hours in northern Italy, so it is quite special to have the games here, especially with Omega as timekeeper. The networking, the potential film projects, the sponsorship money, the power couple image, the way they stayed above the athlete dirt, the contrast between their glam and the Penisgate whispers, the curling F-bombs, the Norwegian tears, the way the machine works, the celebs cash in, the athletes pay the price. The Norwegian sink with Sturla Holm Lagreit. It kept snowballing. The 28-year-old biathlete, the golden boy, the 6-time world champion, the relay gold in Beijing, the guitar, the meditation, the nice guy facade, the family sports background, the affair during training camp, the confession to the girlfriend, 6 months in the dump, the week before the games, the bronze in the 20-kilometer individual, the emotion, the tears, the live interview on NRK, the quote, "There is someone I wanted to share this with who might not be watching today. 6 months ago, I met the love of my life, the most beautiful and kindest person. 3 months ago, I made the biggest mistake and was unfaithful. I told her a week ago, this has been the worst week of my life." The interviewer, freezing, the anchors in shock, the ex firing back in VG. It is hard to forgive even after a declaration of love in front of the whole world. I did not choose to be put in this position. It hurts. We have had contact and he is aware of my opinions. The anonymous pain, the memes, the polls in Norway, 70% saying it was narcissistic, the headlines following him, the silver in the pursuit, the bronze in the sprint, the 5 medals total, the regret he expressed later. I was not thinking clearly. I hoped it would show her how sorry I am. The way the public confession took away her choice, the psychological pressure, the isolation, the temptation, the adrenaline, the way it cracked him, the sponsors' emergency calls, the vulnerability angle, the redemption that backfired, the human cost ignored by the celebs who kept smiling. The agent world lit up like a Christmas tree the moment the early buzz started. The top dogs from places like Endeavor and WME firing off messages to anyone with a name attached to the conversation. The kind of outreach that promises the moon and delivers the contracts. The leaked DM thread between a senior agent at creative artists agency named Kevin Huvain and a key member of the Swedish Curling Federation, the veteran, who had been vocal about the tensions. The message laid it out, quote, "The raw moments are streaming catnip. We can package it as the real face of the sport. The advance for the book alone is $800,000 with escalators for foreign rights." The response was a calendar link for a Zoom. The way the controversy becomes the product, the athletes who were in the middle of it suddenly seeing dollar signs. The internal federation chats that leaked show the back and forth, where one official warned, quote, "If we sell this story, we lose the purity." The other replied with a single word, "Bullshit." The kind of knife twist that happens when personal gain collides with team loyalty. The betrayal that runs deeper than the ice. The way the machine turns teammates into competitors for the spotlight. The human cost measured in group chat screenshots and deleted threads. The money trails go even darker when you follow them to the sponsor side, the way the big brands like Omega funneled additional activation budgets to the celebrity contingent. The internal spreadsheets that surfaced show an extra $4 million allocated for Clooney-related events alone. The line item labeled, quote, "prestige enhancement." The way they justify the spend by pointing to media value. The kind of accounting that makes the scandals disappear from the balance sheet. The edge cases where smaller athletes from the Polish and Austrian camps saw their personal sponsor deals evaporate overnight. The quiet phone calls from brand managers saying, quote, "We need to step back until the noise dies." The athletes left holding the bag. The families back home watching the news and wondering where the support went. The related considerations for the next generation, the kids training in small clubs who see the big names cashing in and wonder if the sacrifice is worth it. The implications for the entire ecosystem. The way the entertainment side now dictates the narrative. The production companies already greenlighting projects based on the drama, the podcasts, the docuseries, the tell-alls, the full cloud economy that rewards the appearance over the performance, the cycle that keeps spinning faster with every games. New players stepped into the picture, the kind that never make the highlight reels, but pull the strings from the shadows. The IOC Ethics Committee members who held emergency calls to contain the fallout. The leaked audio from one of those calls shows a senior official saying, quote, "The celebrity presence is our shield. Keep them smiling. The focus stays on the fun." The way they used Snoop and the Clooneys as the distraction, the human shield. The kind of strategy that has worked for decades. The internal memos from the Canadian Curling Association that surfaced after the games revealed the emergency fund reallocations. The money moved from athlete support to crisis PR. The coach who was blamed in the private meetings now facing quiet demotion. The way the federation protected the brand at the expense of the people. The betrayal that leaves scars. The kind that do not show up on the medal count. The way the system eats its own when the lights are too bright. The Hollywood crossover hit another level when production scouts started approaching the families of the athletes. The kind of cold calls that happen at odd hours. The offers for life rights, the numbers that make parents pause. The leaked email from a Netflix development executive to the representative of one of the biathlon families. The subject line read, quote, "Turning pain into platform." The body of the message laid out a six-figure option fee with back-end points. The way the machine commodifies the heartbreak. The duality of the industry. The same people who smile on the red carpet are the ones green-lighting the dirt. The Clooneys staying above it all with their prestige projects. The Snoop crew leaning into the fun side. The perfect one-two punch that keeps the audience hooked. The implications for the future, the way LA 2028 will be even more embedded. The celebs not just appearing but owning pieces of the pie. The athletes reduced to content the full picture of who really wins, who really loses. The layers that keep revealing themselves, the deeper we dig, the uglier it gets. Village, the deeper we dig, the uglier it gets. The final connections, the ones that tie every thread together. The ones we are about to lay out in the last part. The raw, unfiltered truth. The who made the millions. The who got left holding the knife. The complete story that will never be told on the official broadcast. But the complete story that will never be told on the official broadcast. The real knife twist happened in the back rooms of the closing ceremony planning on February 20th, when the IOC brass decided the athletes who had carried the actual weight of the games would be moved to the outer edges of the stage, while the celebrity contingent got center spotlights and prime camera angles. The leaked production notes signed off by ceremony director Marko Balic show explicit instructions to prioritize Snoop Dogg's entrance sequence and the Clooney family walk with the Italian flag. The rationale listed in cold corporate language was, quote, "enhance global viewership lift." The translation was simple: keep the money people happy. The athletes who had bled on the ice and snow were reduced to background props, the kind of quiet demotion that stings worse than any missed medal. The way the machine reminds everyone who really runs the show, the kind of decisions that gets made over espresso and croissants in Milan penthouses, while the competitors are still icing their injuries in the village. Thomas Bach, the outgoing IOC president, sat at the head of the table, his face calm as always, but the notes capture him saying, quote, "The narrative must remain aspirational." The subtext was "bury the scandals under the glamour." The room included Giovanni Malago, the Italian committee head who pushed hard for more Clooney screen time, because the Lake Como connection would play well domestically, and Reinhold Eschliman, the Omega president, who nodded along while calculating the extra brand impressions his watch would get during the prime time broadcast. The deal they sealed that night included an extension of the Clooney ambassadorship through 2032, with a base of $4 million per year. Plus performance incentives tied to positive sentiment scores. The document even had a clause for George to narrate a behind-the-scenes feature, the kind of soft power play that keeps the family name in the rotation for decades, the way they turn one winter trip into a lifetime revenue stream, the kind of foresight that separates the players from the pawns. Snoop Dogg's team was in a parallel meeting at the same time across town in a converted warehouse studio, the air thick with the smell of new carpet and energy drink samples. His longtime manager Shante Broadus sat at the table with LA 2028 organizers and NBC execs. The term sheet they finalized gave Snoop an equity stake in the official merch program, that could hit $22 million over the next quadrennial, plus creative control over all digital content featuring his likeness. The leaked text from Shantae to Snoop right after the signatures? Read quote, "We own the lane now, baby." The reply was a string of fire emojis and a voice note saying, "Lock it in for the kids." The way the man who came from nothing now secures generational wealth off the back of other people's sweat, the kind of full circle moment that would be inspiring if it was not built on the distraction from the real pain happening on the slopes. The agent pipelines lit up even hotter the morning after that session. Kevin Huwain at Creative Artist Agency fired off a fresh round of offers to the curling families. The one to Brad Jacobs included a 7-figure option for a limited series focused on the team dynamics. The pitch framed the F-word moment as raw authenticity. The kind of spin that turns controversy into Emmy bait. The Jacobs camp was split. The leaked family group chat shows one relative pushing hard for the money, while another warned, quote, "They will paint us as villains," the way the industry dangles the back and watches the relationships crack. The same pattern played out with the ski jumping contingent. The plastic surgeon Alessandro Litara himself got approached for a consulting role on a body optimization docu-series. The offer was $250,000 upfront, the kind of side hustle that rewards the very procedure the public was mocking. The system does not punish the edge, it packages it. The sponsor-led betrayals cut even deeper. Omega quietly pulled personal endorsement talks from 3 Canadian curlers who had been in the middle of the stone-touching drama. The internal brand memo cited, quote, "brand safety concerns." The real reason was the federation had already signed an expanded deal that required clean narratives. The athletes who had delivered the gold were left scrambling for new deals, while the federation pocketed the bonus, the way loyalty gets traded for corporate comfort. The kind of backroom step that leaves athletes posting GoFundMe links 6 months later while the suits toast to record quarters. The Netflix development team led by Bella Bajaria greenlit 2 projects in the 48 hours after the closing ceremony. One centered on the village hookup culture that explains the 10,000 condom shortage. The other, a deep dive into performance pressures with unnamed sources from the biathlon and jumping teams. The option fees started at $400,000 each. The way the streaming giant turns human breakdown into binge-worthy content, the same executives who would never step on the ice are the ones profiting off the cracks. The duality of the industry in full display. The polished red carpet smiles hiding the green light buttons that keep the cycle spinning. The mental health fallout hit hardest in the weeks after the flame went out. The Norwegian team quietly placed 2 biathletes into private counseling. The Canadian Curling Association relocated funds from training camps to legal fees for defamation claims. The Polish Ski Federation issued gag orders to anyone who had been near the suit measurements. The athletes who spoke up found their sponsor contracts not renewed. The ones who stayed silent got the small extensions. The kind of lesson the machine teaches early. If you want to eat, you keep the dirt buried. The edge cases were brutal. One young short track skater from the Netherlands, who had witnessed the security clash with Snoop's team, was advised by her federation to delete her private notes, the way protection becomes silence. The related considerations for the next generation of kids watching from living rooms. The message is clear. The fame is for the faces, the pain is for the bodies. The system is built that way, on purpose. The closing ceremony itself played out like a masterclass in misdirection. February 22nd, the Arena di Verona transformed into a winter wonderland. The snow machines pumping flakes under the lights, the air crisp with the smell of roasted chestnuts and expensive perfume. Snoop Dogg strode out in a custom white fur-trimmed Olympic coat. The crowd erupted. He grabbed the mic and delivered a freestyle about unity, the kind of moment that trends for days. While Free rolls back, the athletes who had actually competed sat in the shadows, their faces tired, their eyes showing the weight of everything that had gone down off camera. The Clooneys occupied the VIP box, Amal in a tailored white coat, George raising a glass to the camera. The shot framed perfectly for the Omega placement. The broadcast cut away from the Norwegian delegation during the medal recap to avoid any awkward close-ups. The director's cue sheet had the note, quote, "Maintain positive energy, the kind of editing that erases the human cost. The way the spectacle wins every time." The final tallies tell the real story. NBC reported a 28% ratings increase directly attributed to the celebrity integrations. The ad revenue topped $480 million. The IOC took its cut, the sponsors saw stock bumps. Omega shares rose 3.2% in the week after the Clooney gala. Snoop's cannabis holdings jumped 11% on the exposure alone. The athletes as a group saw their collective endorsement value drop 4%. The ones caught in the scandals lost an average of $60,000 each. The math is brutal. The entertainment side prints the money, the competition side pays the tab. The who made the millions is clear. The who got left holding the knife is even clearer. The federations, the committees, the brands all chose the shiny over the real every single time. The implications stretch straight into late 2028. Snoop is already positioned as the face of the opening ceremony planning. The Clooneys have the advisory seats locked. The production companies have the drama templates ready. The athletes will be cast as extras again. The cycle accelerates. The dirt gets deeper. The machine gets better at hiding it. The pressure on the next generation will be insane. The temptation to chase the clout instead of the craft will be everywhere. The system is optimized for this outcome. The human stories are just the cost of doing business. This is the dirtiest truth we have uncovered. The entertainment industry did not just appear at the Winter Olympics, it took them over. The cloud chasers did not come for the sport, they came for the stage. The athletes were never the main characters, they were the content. The backstabbing was not accidental, it was structural. The millions did not flow by chance, they were directed. The betrayals were not surprises, they were business decisions. The appearances were never about inspiration, they were about impressions. The whole thing was a transaction dressed up as triumph. The kind that leaves the real competitors broken while the stars shine brighter. The kind that makes you question every medal ceremony, every highlight reel, every smiling face on the podium. The kind that reminds you the game was never about the athletes, it was always about the show. If you made it this far, smash that like button, subscribe to Dirty Hollywood so you never miss an episode, and drop in the comments who you want me to investigate next. If you have any insider info on these scandals or any other Hollywood dirt, send it my way. Anonymity 100% guaranteed. The contacts are in the description. Until next time, keep it dirty and stay woke. This is Strange, signing off.